Hey YouTubers, it's me again. So sorry I've been gone for so long. It's been a few months since I posted my last video. I think my last video was the 9-month video. Well, right now it's just the beginning of October, and that means I have been in France for a little bit over a year now. I first moved here at the very end of August, start of September, and now it's the start of October. So I've been in France for about a year and a month. So let me update you on what's happened since my 9-month video. I believe in my 9-month video, I just finished my training program where I was learning French and then I was getting integrated into what it takes to work in France, learning the laws and regulation. And I was also preparing myself for a few things, my family coming to visit, taking a vacation to the French Alps, and taking a French exam to determine my level of French. So, update you on those things. The French Alps vacation was great. It was magnificent. It's very beautiful, very impressive. Gives you a new perspective on just um, well, it gave me a perspective on what I think should change about the United States. It made me realize that France is a country that very much preserves their nature. Now, I'm not hating on the United States. I know that there's places like Colorado, Oregon, California, Niagara Falls, and so on. You can go on where there's preserved natural um, land. I forget what you call natural parks. Um, there are a lot of those in the United States. The Grand Canyon is another great example. Um, but more often, if you live in the U.S., you're usually surrounded by businesses, highways that are lined with restaurants and companies, motels, hotels, and it's just constantly. It's really flat. The United States is really flat land for the most part, and there's mostly just businesses, businesses, businesses. And when you're in France and you drive around a little bit, you'll get a chance to see that there's a lot of nature, and that alongside of the highways, there's not a lot of restaurants that you can stop to for some fast food or a quick meal. You'll just see mountains. You'll see a lot of nature, a lot of plants, a lot of trees, a lot of water if you're driving near the ocean. So I really enjoyed my trip to the French Alps. We went to the top of a mountain called Chamonix, and it's the highest mountain point in Europe. Go check out my Instagram page if you're curious to see how beautiful it really was there, and it was quite beautiful. And we also went to a town called Annecy, which is another beautiful lake that's surrounded by mountains and hills and beautiful villages and beautiful beaches. It was just a great experience, and it was great also because I was there during the Fête de Musique. It's a holiday where they actually just celebrate. It's a day where they just celebrate music. Being a music enthusiast, someone who's been working in the music industry, passionate about playing and making music, it was great to be there on vacation during that holiday. I saw a couple of concerts. It was just really exciting. And I wasn't alone, I was with my wife, my daughter, and my mom and my sister flew from Dallas, Texas, uh, to stay with us for about. Well, my mom was here for a month, and my sister was here for 2 months of the summer, and we vacationed together. So with all of them, we went to Annecy and Chamonix, and we spent a nice time there for vacation. After my mom left, my sister stayed here for another month. She has a friend who's doing a study abroad in London. She met with her, and she met a couple of other friends, and she stayed with us and helped babysit our daughter for another month. And we went to Paris together. We took some great pictures there as well. That's on our Instagram page. And after my sister left, I took a vacation and my wife took a vacation, but we went separate ways. My wife and her family, her mom and her brothers, and our daughter went to Corsica, which is a small island south of France, very beautiful. And I went to the south of France to Nice, the French Riviera, and I had some of my friends from school that I've met and that I've made who met me there in Nice, and we spent a week together just going to the beach, taking a lot of photos and partying. So all that's on my Instagram if you want to see how beautiful France really is. I'm really trying to explore as much of it as I can and take some really beautiful pictures. If you want to know some things I'm really impressed by visually here, it's really just the nature and, well, I guess all aspects of it really just the way they really preserve their nature, and every region of France has a different style to it. So really check out my Instagram page if you're curious to see what that looks like. So that's what I did during the summer. I also did, before I did some traveling, I did take a French exam. I received a diploma for my efforts. um, let's see if I can go grab that for you. Uh, my wife is in the other room on the phone. I'm gonna take the computer in there. Hopefully, she's not too loud. But I have to get my diploma. Okay.
On a eu des plaintes à un sujet. C'est pour ça que maintenant, dans les descriptions, on s'assure de mettre s'il y a un ascenseur ou pas et l'équivalent fait aux États-Unis. Mais, mais ouais, il faut bien faire attention à ça. Mais voilà, tout ça pour dire que c'est l'étage et l'euro, c'est la seule chose qui est standard français.
Okay, sorry about that. So, on that little tour to the other room, I hope you heard my wife a little bit. She was speaking in French. If you understood what she was saying, good for you. Your French was very good. And also, I showed you a little picture of my baby because I talk about my baby a lot, and I don't really post pictures of her on here because me and my wife, we decided that we didn't want to be one of those YouTube couples that you know follows the growth of our baby on YouTube. We just wanted to keep it private, even though that would probably lead to more likes and more interest in our videos. If I showed you more of our daily activity and day-to-day life, we just decided we wanted to keep that private and just keep these videos informative. So anyway, back to what we were talking about before. I took an exam and I received a diploma. Just going to find that real quick for you guys so you can see what it looks like. A lot of documents here because I'm actually going to get my carte de séjour for 10 years next week. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up soon. Here is the diploma. Okay, so if you saw that, it's in French, obviously. Oh, and here's the different levels of French listed on the back. So you see it starts at the bottom A2, and then it goes up to level C1. C1 is where you're fluent. You can speak French as the French do. A2 is a beginning level. Then you have B11, B12 right in the middle. And then you have B2, which is a very good proficiency. Okay, and me, I took my test and I got this diploma, and I am at B12. So that is my level of French, right in the middle, intermediate French. That's what I speak after living here in France for a year and passionately studying. I read the dictionary. I watch TV in French. I watch movies in French. I read different books in French. I took French classes, a lot of French classes, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. I listen to the Michel Thomas tapes very actively almost every day. I had conversations outside of class with different French people. I had conversations with my wife's friends, my wife's family. I've gone drinking to bars with speaking in French at night. So I've been really trying my best. And with all the effort I've given in a year, and that also includes that I took French for about 9 months at school, at college. So with all of that, about a year and 9 months of taking French, I am at intermediate level French. So there you go. That shows you what you have in store for you if you've already been studying or if you haven't studied yet. So yeah, and it's been a year. So let's talk about the job situation. He's been there for over a year. Is he working? He finished his program. Now, remember, I was studying French since I've arrived here. That was my priority, was to study French and to go through the immigration process and to get financial aid from the government for our family. So that was our main focus. Oh, and we also had a daughter within a few months of my arrival here. So these were our major priorities arriving. We came here with a lot of savings, and I plan to put off looking for jobs until the future after we got situated and I was doing my best at learning French. In hindsight, would I have done the same? Yes, because actually, um, you're required when you move here to France, and you go through the visa process or the carte de séjour process, you're required to prove your level of French. And if your French is not good, it's mandatory that you take classes and you receive a diploma or you receive documents verifying how many hours of French that you took. So even if you want to come here to France and you just want to start looking for work right away, you don't want to worry about French, well, it's not possible. If you want to keep your visa or your carte de séjour valid, you have to prove that you can speak a good level of French or that you're taking classes. So there's no other option in hindsight if I wanted to go back and just search for jobs only. But back to jobs. Where am I? Well, good news. I found a job. Yes, I found a job finally. So, just today, actually, let me explain. um, I received a phone call from a job interview that I actually did in July that I kept in contact with the owner. It's called Sound Charts. It's a digital music distribution company. That's a mouthful. Um, and so just think of a tech company, a tech startup industry, and it's, involved with managing music content online, and it's located in Paris. So we will have to move to another city. It has a long term contract, and all the benefits that come with that. And I will be having a manager position, and I will be holding a position where I can speak English 95% of the time. I was told that I will only have to speak French really when I'm working with the IT team or the tech department for technical issues. Outside of that, I will be using English on a day to day basis. Um, and since I've arrived here, there have not been a lot of jobs that I found where you can speak 95% English. Most of the jobs I see, it was 60% English as the most, and you still had to use a lot of French. But this is my industry of digital music. It might be different if you're in a different sector of music, if you're more in live events, if you're an production assistant. It might be different if, I don't know, if you work in television, filming crews, or just a completely different field altogether. Finance, I've read that finance is a good industry to be in if you're coming here without speaking French and looking for work too. So, um, this is my update with you guys. I found a job. It's been about a year since I've been here. Uh, I left here the end of August 2016. I came here, I registered with Pole Employ. I got benefits for unemployment. We had a daughter. I started taking French classes. First, I took a free French class for a few months. Then I took a French class for 4 months where I was paid to go to the class. Um, then I had some exams and some internships. I saw family, took vacation, and now I found work. So this is the end of the journey. I guess maybe I can put some more videos up, updating you guys on the contract details, the different benefits that you're getting here, or the taxes that you're paying here. But they're looking for me to start soon. I'll be moving to Paris. Ideally, we wanted to live in Brittany, the region we are now. The cost of living is very low. But if you want to look for English speaking jobs, most likely they will be in major cities, and most likely they'll be in Paris. So it wasn't easy, very hard. I started seriously applying for jobs in June. It's the beginning of October. Even though I had this interview in July, it took a long time before this actually came to fruition. So, very fortunate. I have a headache right now just through all the preparations I've done over the summer for interviews. Wasn't easy at all, very stressful. Sometimes I wanted to give up. Sometimes I was thinking about why did I leave New York? I need to go back there. And it was very stressful. I have a few more white hairs, I think, because of all this. But I received a job offer today by phone and by email. I got more information recently. And so I'll start working soon. So it's possible. You see, I quit my job without any contacts in France, working in the music industry without speaking French. And I found a job by myself with no help. So there you go. You guys can do it too. And I've heard that it's harder for. I've been seeing a lot of comments about people saying about my race, about African Americans or blacks having it difficult, more difficult in French, or that French people are racist. Well, there you go. I'm a black man, American. Maybe that helps. I'm not sure, but I'll be having a manager position and I'll be speaking 95% English during my job. And I plan to continue to learn French when I have free time to get better. Um, so, yeah, they, well, there you guys go. I'm not going to really talk about salary numbers, but my salary here, it's pretty close to the salary that the salary I will be receiving will be pretty close to the salary I was. It's a little less than the one I was getting in New York, but it's pretty close to the one I was getting in New York. But the cost of living for renting an apartment in Paris is also lower than it is in New York too. Um, so I'll have a CDI contract. If you're not familiar with CDI contracts, this is a long term in it. This is a long term permanent contract, but there's a 3 month trial period. At the end of 3 months, the company says if they think you're a good fit, or you can say you don't want to stay with the company, either way. And then after that 3 month trial period, you pretty much have a permanent contract for all your life. I'm very interested to see about the vacation, of course, the healthcare and all that stuff. This is already offered to you by the government, but I'm very curious to see the vacation time I get from this because I'm hoping to visit family soon. I would love to visit my family for Christmas, to go see my dad, and some other family too, my brother. Um, so, so yeah, that's all the information I have for you guys right now. I'll be moving to Paris soon, and maybe I'll update you guys with my life in Paris and the start of my job and if I like it or not. But the point of all of my videos here was finding work in France, and I found it. And I've used some of the same websites I put on links in my other videos: LinkedIn, Indeed, and Irma, IRMA. This IRMA.fr, but this is specifically for jobs in the music industry. Um, so there you go. Pole Employ. That will be another one you will want to use also. So there you go. You just have to get on the internet and send your resumes. I was searching for jobs in English. At first I started looking for English and French. I did some job interviews in French, and they were horrible. And they just ended up switching to English for me because I made so many mistakes with my grammar and verb conjugations. So after embarrassing myself through about 3 or 4 French interviews, I just only started applying to English jobs, and I just figured it wasn't even worth it to, try French because it would be too embarrassing. Even if my resume was impressive, just once they talked to me, it would just be horrible. So after that, I just started applying in English. And to be honest with you, there were not a lot at all in my field. Spotify, um, they have a lot of positions in English. Amazon, Google, YouTube, Deezer, um, and this company, Sound Charts. These are the only companies really that I've found in my digital media music technology field that had jobs entirely in English. But don't forget, if you are discouraged, another option that you have is to look for jobs in other countries. That your visa will cover jobs in the Schengen region. That in these different countries. Unfortunately, it doesn't include England, which would be the best option for English speaker. But you can also search for jobs in other countries where English is required if you can't find one in France. So, whew, 20 minutes. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Please post some comments if you have any questions.